Good morning, YouTube. William here. We are working on installment number 9 of the Case 310G Dozer project. A quick glance at our radiator. The system has not leaked a single drop, which is great. This was overflow I spilled while I was filling. And the system is just setting at about an eighth of an inch below. So that's awesome. Hopefully no issues with that. Of course, we haven't got it running yet. The primary game plan for today, I already shot some footage of pulling the hydraulic oil filter, and then I just screwed that back in to keep dust out of the system. But the primary game plan for today is to take this loose. As you'll remember, this bolt was half chattered off. I'm not sure about that one, and inspect our gasket. And then we will see what other kind of trouble we can get into. Our gasket is definitely reusable. Absolutely no issues there. And this surface looks like it's never been taken off once, so that's good. All we need to do is go grab some, looks like 1 1/4 by 3/8 hardware, and we'll be back in business. We're going to mask off our opening to our air intake. I've already got the hardware located. We're going to blow out the holes and then anti-seize the bolts and put our intake standpipe right back on. Okay, we have our bolts pre-anti-seized. Put this back on. I cleaned everything with brake cleaner. All right, we have our air intake standpipe freshened up. We have new hardware here, anti-seized of course, and the gasket below was very excellent. So we just cleaned everything with brake cleaner. Game plan for today is to pull our hydraulic oil filter right here. It's kind of a pain in the butt. I'll probably end up stuffing a seed bag or perhaps cutting up one of my antifreeze jugs. I saw that on Diesel Creek's channel and I thought that was a very good idea. So that's what we're going to get started on right now. Okay, we have our patent pending antifreeze jug cut up. I learned this from Diesel Creek. And now I think I can get my 1.5 inch wrench on here and crack that open, and that should catch all of the oil that's in here. Fingers crossed. That was simple enough. Man, that trick works good. Definitely be remembering the cut up antifreeze jug trick for the future. grab some paper towels. I'll be right back. Okay, we have our hydraulic filter pulled. Here's the canister that goes in. Here is the part number, D-32212. I cannot proceed with the startup, unfortunately, because I will not have my hydraulic filter until Tuesday, so hurry up and wait for that. So what I'm going to do is turn my attention to the battery box. We have some very yummy, deliciousness in here. I'm going to opt for brand new battery cables, the whole 9 yards. So that's what I'm going to start working on now. They're very tired, well used. They're both positive cables, which is fine in my opinion. You just mark them and you know which one to hook up. But we'll get all that back original and fresh and get rid of all this nasty foam. And looks like some critters have left us some delicious gifts in there as well. We got someone's old glove. I cannot believe how much stuff is in here. 2x4s, you name it. Rubber matting. We have an old glove. Huge chunks of foam with turds still intact. Deliciousness. This is ridiculous how much stuff is in here. I'm fairly certain that at some point someone had a real problem with mice living in this compartment. That's why all the foam and rubber was in there. They even went so far as to drill 2 holes in this 2x4 for the battery cable to just barely slip through, going through in reverse, of course. Unfortunately, all of their efforts were for naught. First order of business, we need to cut these flogged out battery cables, and then we will proceed to get the battery box cleaned out properly. Talk about a freaking aggravation. They had that sucker cut down to the 1,000th of an inch. If you don't have one already, you need to grab a needle scaler. We've got about 1/4 of the box left to do. All right, we've got our battery box very clean. I've already cleaned it once with a brake cleaner. And we're now going to pull our cables the rest of the way so we can have new ones made that are the proper gauge to get as much amperage to the starter as possible. And then we're going to paint this. Here we have our positive lead. You can see it's very thin and snakes right down along our large hydraulic lines, and then snakes all the way up to the positive side of the starter. Here you can also see our negative lead jumps right down and terminates right there. All right, we are underneath the belly of the beast, and you can see, for whatever reason, the previous owner decided to chop off the original cable, but follow its routing with zip ties all the way up, and then it terminates right up there. And you can see that the old cable is quite a bit larger than the new one that they ran. So we're gonna do basically the same thing, and I'll see if I can go about removing that old cable out of there. Okay, we have our starter terminal loose. Gently pull that off. Looks like that was hillbilly engineered, but we don't want to change that just yet or lose where it goes. Tighten that up by hand. Quite a long cable. I would at least like to go up one size for my positive, and then I would really love to have a braided negative cable. I just kind of like the look of those. Okay, we have our vice grip installed on the lower frame rail. This is where our negative cable terminates, and there's no real good way to get a wrench in there, so I'm probably going to be relocating that. Oh yeah, our vice grip fell off the bottom, and we have our bolt retrieved, thank God. Slowly and methodically, I am cleaning all of my surfaces with brake cleaner and paper towel so that we get good adhesion for our paint. Yummy. I've cleaned everything 2 or 3 times with brake cleaner, just waiting for the remainder of it to evaporate, and I think this is way overkill for shooting rusty metal primer into something. I've seen a lot of people on YouTube just glob it right on top of big old rust barnacles, and we're just about down to 100% clean steel, so gonna start shooting. Okay, a quick coat of rusty metal primer, a very liberal coating, just to protect everything, and then we will go with our primary color. I picked up a Rust-Oleum brand Caterpillar Yellow. I think will match quite nicely. It's down in the battery box where no one's going to see it. That just at least gives it 2 coats of paint to eat through before we get back down to steel again. This is a look at the opposing side. I'm going to use this as a toolbox instead of the dual battery setup that would have came from the factory. It's still pretty solid. There are some barnacles built up, but I didn't really want to paint this one because it still has all of the maintenance schedule for the machine. As you can see there, it's pretty cool. Nice to see that old decal in there. So I won't be messing with that, but this one definitely needs the same treatment once that one is dry. Okay, we are going to pull our floor panel just to get a good look under there, and also it's going to assist us in removing the old positive cable that goes up to the starter that's just setting under there. I can also see that we need a shifter boot pronto for our shift knob. Hindsight being 2020, I wish I would have pulled the floor pan long before I started washing, because I would have had a much cleaner machine, but is what it is. Also, I am very excited to see that changing these 2 hydraulic lines will not be as bad a job as I thought. That being said, I can always pull my floor pan and change them at a later date. All right, we are going after our old battery cable right here. There is a 1/2 inch bolt right there. So 3/4 inch socket will go on. And I'm going to put a vice grip on this side and see if I can zip it out that direction. Okay, we have success with our first clamp. Now, unfortunately, we've got to head that way, under the belly of the beast again. All right, YouTube. For obvious reasons, I did not record getting a vice grip on that. I think it's kind of barely on there. I'm hoping I can go turn it out from the back side. Here's the front of the drawbar. And I can promise you this much, there will not be a wire clamp going back on that bolt. Yeehaw. All right, here is the bolt we are tentatively trying to take off. Got our 1/2 inch ratchet set up, 3/4 socket. Oh, she's tight. Okay, we're going to see if we can pull the battery cable now. Here we go. I can absolutely see why they never wanted to pull that cable, because that one was a dog. This one wasn't so bad, but I will be probably running these a different way than they did. Okay, I've already started painting with the Rust-Oleum Caterpillar Yellow. And so far, I've been pretty impressed with it. I'm just getting all the hard-to-reach places first, and then we will go ahead and shoot the bottom. We'll bring you along. Okay, we have it thoroughly painted. There's a few runs in places. I never claimed to be an expert painter, but it's better than it's looked in the last 50 years, that's for sure. I'm not even sure that the factory painted these. I think they just slammed the lid closed and said that was good enough. So we've got a good thick layer of primer, and Caterpillar yellow paint I think really matches up quite nicely.